What am I eating again? What is this?
Welcome back to Borough Talks, the Borough Market podcast. I'm Giulia Crouch, and this winter we're back at London's historic food market, speaking to the chefs and traders who bring it to life.
Borough Market is such a special place, the traders, but especially also the customers.
From the exceptional cured meats of Italy and Spain to expertly matured farmhouse cheese.
So you take the curds and you cut them up into little bits and add the salt. That's British cheese.
And modern French cuisine to refreshing matcha.
I mean, I love it when someone comes to me and is like, I've never tried matcha before. I'm like, you're the perfect customer.
This season is all about iconic food and drink and the people behind it. Join us as we dig into their stories, seasonal ingredients, and take a closer look at what makes this market so special. This is Borough Talks. My guest today is Thea Wunderer, founder of Alpine Deli at Borough Market, a stall bringing the flavours of South Tyrol to London. Thea, welcome to Borough Talks.
Thank you very much.
So for anyone who hasn't visited or perhaps hasn't heard of South Tyrol, explain to me where it is and paint a picture of what it's like there.
So the South Tyrol is the most northern region in Italy. So it's right on the border to Austria and Switzerland. It's behind the mountains where the Dolomites are. And historically, the South Tyrol used to be part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. After the First War, it became part of Italy. But we still speak an Austrian dialect there. My name is an Austrian name. Most people's names are Austrian or German names.
How do you guys kind of consider yourselves then? Do you consider yourselves Italian?
We speak German, but we are Italian. Yeah, we're not the classic Italian as you would imagine to be, because we are from the north, the very north of Italy. And because we speak South Tyrolerisch, which is an Austrian dialect. So really, we are South Tyrolians, but if we have to choose a nationality, then we're Italian. We're not Austrian, we're not German, or we're not Swiss either.
You're really your own thing.
Yeah.
And it must be played out in the food, I imagine, this very distinctive culture.
The food, again, is different to the classic Italian food you would think of, because it's a bit more rich, because it's the north. That's more like a Austrian-German kitchen food if you think about it. And also, like, for example, with the cured meats we make, they're different again. Most things we smoke a little bit, so they're very aromatic in flavor.
And what are some of the signature dishes of South Tyrol? Because when people think of Italy, people just immediately think of pasta, pizza, balsamic vinegar. But what are some of the things that are so signature?
So what we South Tyrolians are very proud of is the speck we make. It's a smoked ham, juniper flavored. It's very aromatic. And the first thing when people think of South Tyrolean food, it's always speck ham, and we call them Kaminwurzeln, which is like chimney sausages. It's like little smoked salamis. Mm-hmm. When it comes to other dishes, it's a bit more rich. So you don't have the classic pasta dishes. We have pasta dishes, but they're also more rich, more with butter rather than olive oil. Or we do dumplings.
Tell me about the dumplings, because I was looking at them online and they sound absolutely delicious. I love dumplings in literally any cuisine, from around the world.
So it's just like dumplings. They're made of white bread, which has gone dry, and you can make them in different ways. The most popular one is the speck dumpling, and you season it with onion and parsley, and you put an egg in there and loads of other things to boost the flavor. And you would just eat it with a broth, or you would eat it in a salad. You would also have it with goulash and other meat dishes. The dumplings, so it's one of the classical dishes as well. But you make it with you can make it with cheese, you can make it with spinach and loads of other ingredients.
And I saw that there are some pasta dishes. I don't know the way you say, but it's like mezzaluna in Italian. Yeah. Little half moons. I don't know the other way.
We call them Schlutzkrapfen. Schlutzkrapfen, and I can't even translate the word. It's like a ravioli dish. Mm-hmm. It's filled with spinach, and you would grate the cheese, like Parmesan cheese, and butter on top of it. And it's very rich. It's a beautiful dish. It's very rich.
That sounds amazing. Yeah. It sounds perfect for this time of year. This kind of hearty, winter, comforting mountain fare. How do you think the landscape of South Tyrol and where it's located kind of influences its cuisine?
I believe it's because it's in the north, it's in the mountains, the winters are long, the winters are cold, so the food is much more rich than in southern Italy, where you have the classic Mediterranean dishes, which is more light.
And I read about lots of like fried dough and donut type things.
We do the donuts, for example, we do only once a year, which is in February, when is carnival time in Europe. And it's basically, it's just a classic donut with jam or cream. I think you call it custard.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Custard donut.
And then there's another dish, they call it Strauben. It's where you have like the same dough. And
Is it like little pieces?
yeah, little pieces.
I love that. That's
So yeah,
good.
there is a dough which you basically boil in water. They call it spätzle. It's also very much like an Austrian or German dish. And that again, you would have with something like goulash or like a venison stew or just a rich dish. Yeah.
So what was it like growing up there?
I grew up in a very small village, about 300 people living there.
Wow.
And my family, so my dad was a farmer. Then from a very early age, I had to help out in the field. So we did have apple trees. And we also had lots of cauliflower and beetroot and corn. So yeah, me and my siblings, we always had to work and help out in the fields. But my family also had, they had the local pub and guest house or small hotel and restaurant. So I've been also surrounded by the hotel and catering business from an early age. It is beautiful to grow up in the mountains, in the countryside. But for me, for example, I always wanted to go and live in a big city. That's why I chose London.
Well, yeah. Do you know, I think that's always the way with anyone who I grew up in a village as well.
Yeah.
And I was just desperate to get to
Yeah.
a big city, even though when you get older and you look back on it, you see that like villages and the countryside is so beautiful.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like you've kind of always been surrounded by food then. Have you always had an interest?
Well, yes and no. It just happened. I grew up in this business and I also have a hotel and catering degree, but it all just happened because this is how you grow up. This is what your parents do. I guess that's also the reason why I started this business, with foods from back home and bringing them to London.
So tell me about when you moved to London then, and when did you have the idea for Alpine Deli?
Well, when I moved to London, I actually, for the first 10 years, I worked for an internet company and I did production and design. Then that slowly came to an end. And then it wasn't even my idea. It was a friend of mine suggested I should bring produce from back home and sell it in London. And at first I wasn't so keen about it because there was a reason why I left home and I didn't really want to deal with all the things back home again. But then it just seemed to be a good idea and a great opportunity. And so I slowly started and here I am at Borough Market.
And what year was that? When did you launch the business?
2009.
2009. And what was the food scene like at that time?
Nothing like it's now.
I bet. Things change rapidly, don't they?
Yeah. When I first started, most people didn't know what to do with the produce. They looked at it and they said, what is it? What can I do with it?
Really?
How do I cook it? Can I eat it? You still get that occasionally today, but people didn't know. So you had to explain a lot that it's cured meats. You can eat it as it is with bread and cheese or on its own. But now most people, because everything is available now in London, so people actually are much more familiar now.
That's fascinating that people didn't know what to do with cured meats.
And that's because I grew up like this, and for me it comes natural.
And so what products did you start with then? What did you think, okay, this is going to sell well in London?
With the speck ham and with the smoked sausages, and then slowly a few salamis, then some bresaola, and then more and more different types of cured meats.
So are there products that can only be made in South Tyrol? Can the speck only be made in South Tyrol?
No, speck is done all over the Alpine region, even in Italy. This speck we sell is Speck Altoadice BGI, so it has a BGI status. So this speck can only be made in the South Tyrol. It's the same thing like Parma ham can only be made in Parma. So it is always controlled by the, what do you call it, consorts?
Yeah, consortium.
Consortium.
Yeah.
They come and check, and they also like every leg gets a stamp and to certify this product. Yeah.
And take me back to the early days of setting up the business then. How hard was it to do, and were you running it by yourself?
When I started, I didn't even know where to start, what to do, where to look. So I started at a very small market around the corner where I live in Maida Vale. And I only had like a few pieces of speck and smoked sausages. My brother helped me at the beginning to source the produce, which is all from a small family-run butchery from the village where I grew up. And then to find a way to bring it over, how to rent a market stall, how to sell it to people. And then I tested it out for a few months in a market in Maida Vale and one in Chelsea, and then I got in at Borough Market, and I still had to learn a lot. And the best way for me was just always going around the market, looking at everybody who was successful and who did well. How do they set up their stall? What does it look like? How do they interact with customers? And most of all, also listening to customers. What do they like? What would they want to have? What we don't sell yet. So yeah.
What were some of the biggest challenges in the early days? Were there any like huge mistakes that you made?
Luckily, not really. Maybe I move a little bit slow, but secure, whereas other people go in faster.
Right.
So I was always very slowly touching my way through.
And how many products do you have today on the store?
We have loads of different types of hams, different types of our smoked sausages, loads of different flavors and salamis. We actually also started doing biltong, which is not something we traditionally make, but customers constantly asked us to make it. So our butcher back in Italy started making it. So he makes it only for us here at Borough Market.
Wow.
And it's very popular, and we sell a lot of this as well. So we have started making that from the early stage, yeah.
So describe what biltong is.
Biltong is a South African recipe, and basically it's just dried spiced meat. You can use loads of different types of meat. You can use game or beef.
And so do you think people have kind of expanded their tastes from the time that you first opened? Like, are people a bit more adventurous with what they buy now? You know, in the early days, they were saying to you, what do we do with it? Like, how do we eat it?
They're definitely more adventurous, or also with different flavors. Like on the salamis, where we sell salamis made of pork with different flavors, but we also sell wild boar, venison. And so a lot of times with like more exotic meats like venison, wild boar, a little bit skeptic, but it's actually one of our most popular products.
How many people work for you?
It's mostly myself. I have somebody working with me now, a young man, Dylan. And a lot of times I would have been on my own. When I first started, I always had lots of people working with me. And then during the pandemic, it was just me. And then I quite enjoyed just working on my own. And I did that for a while, but it's a little bit too exhausting. So I have one person working with me now.
Yeah, it must be so busy trying to juggle everything.
Well, I'm very organized. So I guess that's like the Northern Germanic roots.
I was going to say, that's not like me. And what's it like being a female business owner? Does that present any challenges?
I don't think it does to me. To me, it's quite normal, but I guess I'm quite a strong person as well. Yeah, I mean, it might also be a little bit strange, a woman running a business, which people might think it's more male focused like cured meats, which it's not
Yeah.
at all because we have a lot of female customers. I would probably say 50-50. But being a female-led business, I think it's quite normal to me.
I love that. What advice would you give to someone who wanted to set up a food business today? Obviously, times have changed quite a lot, but you must have some good insights.
Well, I think the old rules will always apply, and it applies to everything. It's just commitment, consistency to everything 100%. No is never an answer. It's always a yes. And just always listen and to be open for opportunities, for what the customer likes or doesn't like.
Going back to the food then, if you had to kind of do a starter pack for somebody who wanted to understand the food of South Tyrol, which 3 ingredients would you give them, or which 3 products?
I would say the 3 products I've brought here today.
Okay.
I would definitely start with the speck ham.
Yes.
So basically, the speck ham, it's from the leg of the pork. It's juniper flavored, low in salt. It's very aromatic, and you eat it like any other ham. Most people have it with bread and cheese. I don't eat bread and cheese. So I have it with tomatoes, olives, artichokes on its own.
Lovely.
You can also dice it up. You can cook with it. So back home we even make carbonara with the speck ham, but don't tell them in the south of Italy that we used the speck ham
We
to
won't
make
tell them,
carbonara.
don't worry. No, that sounds delicious though. I've had it on pizza before.
Yeah, it's really great on pizza.
So good on pizza with I've had it with walnuts and like a certain type of cheese on a pizza, and it's incredible. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's so salty and aromatic.
Yeah,
You said.
the smokiness, whereas it makes it very aromatic.
Yeah.
You can have it with Brussels sprouts, with cabbage. You can make it with in a salad, like really any way you like.
Yeah. Yeah. Should we try some?
Yeah, let's try some. So we have 2 different versions here. So I sliced one with the machine, which a lot of people like it thinly sliced with the machine. So, and then I bought another version, a chunk, which we slice with the knife. So this is what we do back home. So I would prefer it sliced with the knife because to me it's more meat, it's more more rich.
Has a different texture in your mouth. Okay, should we try the sliced, the
Go for
thinly
it,
sliced one first? It looks beautiful. It's like a pale pink, and then it's got like the fat running through it. It looks lovely. Let's give it a try. It's really good.
It's really nice. So to me, because I grew up with it, so it's really close to my heart, and I love speck. Speck forever for me. Let me do a slice. So it's also really great if you have it with salami. With melon.
Oh yeah, I can imagine it would go so well with something sweet.
Me, for example, I like it this way, and this is how we would traditionally slice it. It's to me, it has almost like a different. It's a different texture, different flavor.
The flavor is so wonderful. I think it's got the perfect amount of saltiness and like that umami, very, very satisfying flavor. So it's flavored with juniper. You can kind of taste that coming through. So tasty. Okay, I'm going to try the thicker cut one. So it's not super thick cut, is it? It's still relatively thin, but it's just not wafer thick.
It really depends. It really depends. Some people want it really thin. Some people want it more chunky. And to me, it always depends how hungry I am. When I'm more hungry, I want more bigger chunks.
A huge chunk.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Way more meaty. I really like both.
They're both nice. I prefer it this way because I grew up slicing it with a knife.
I feel like it's almost more aromatic in a bigger chunk, which is weird because you thought the flavor might spread out more when it's more thinly sliced. I love the texture of the wafer thin, maybe because that's what I'm more used to. But I think the flavor is better when it's bigger. That's so delicious. And so you can use it in carbonara. What other like cooked dishes could you use it in?
Well, the dumplings, for example, we spoke earlier. Then we make, for example, another dish we make, it's a cabbage salad. It's just white cabbage,
Mm-hmm.
vinegar, oil, and speck cubes in there. You just fry the speck cubes a little bit. You
That sounds
release the
really
flavor, and then you mix it with the white cabbage, and that's really delicious. Yeah,
What's that called?
it's just called kraut salad.
Oh.
It's just cabbage salad.
Cabbage salad.
with speck.
With speck.
I guess
gonna make
because Austria, we're not very great with names. We just call it what they are.
I like that. Straight to the point.
Yeah.
So what else have you brought then? What else is in the
Bought
starter
some
pack?
Alpine Bresaola. So this is beef.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Bresaola delle Alpi. So it's different to the classic Bresaola della Valtellina because this beef is also gently smoked over beechwood and then air dried. So the texture is different and the flavor is very aromatic through the smokiness. But you eat it the same. It's like classic Bresaola. You can have it really nice on a bed of rocket, dash of olive oil, parmesan shapes. And it's
Beautiful.
any way you like.
How would you describe the flavor?
It's very aromatic.
Like deep in flavor.
Flavor, yeah.
Very complex. It starts quite delicate and then
But
gets
the more
deeper
you
and
chew
deeper.
into it, and also the flavor keeps going. It just doesn't, stop there.
That is fantastic. That's so delicious. I don't normally like that, but that is such
It's
a
really
good
nice, isn't it?
Oh my God, it's
very
amazing.
Nice flavor, yeah.
Even on its own, because sometimes I find it can be a bit rich or like a bit overpowering, but that's beautifully balanced and like you said with some rocket and some parmesan. Oh wow, that's so good. And then we've got some sausages.
Yeah, we get some sausages. So typically we make the speck ham and the sausages. So we call them chimney sausages.
Why?
Because they smoke them. They would have smoked them in the kitchens and then hang them. And as a child, I still remember going in some people's kitchens and the ceiling would be dark or black because they used to smoke the meats in there and then hang it.
So how did they ever clean the kitchen after that?
They were talking about like many years ago.
That's so funny.
So yeah, and so chimney sausages because they smoke them and then dry them.
And
So,
they're quite little.
They're very small, yeah, and these are actually so. You can slice them, but they're really great if you bite them off when you have a bigger chunk. Yeah, but I'm going to slice them today.
Yeah, it would be unladylike of me to just take a big chunk.
So I bought two different types. We sell 5 different flavors, but I bought 2 different flavors. I bought the traditional one, the classic one, which is smoked pork meat, and I put the venison because we have a lot of deer meat.
Which is your favorite?
Oh, sorry. The traditional. I love the traditional. And also, you wouldn't do the slices too thin. Again, here, the thicker they are, the more chunky, more chunky they are, the richer the flavor is.
Which one's this
So
one?
this is the traditional. Yeah, it's pork.
Flavored with?
Pork. It's just classic seasoning, pepper, a little bit salt, pepper, tiny little bit of garlic in there. It's just a meaty flavor.
You can really taste the garlic. That's really good. What would you have that with?
Same bread,
Yeah.
cheese on its own. They're really great on its own, just a snack, just for biting off. A lot of people, so you would take them hiking or if you go working in the fields, have it a little snack afterwards or so after work, yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
I'm going to do a slice the venison. So that's a darker meat. It's a little bit more rich. It's a little gamey and there's much more depth to it. It is mixed with pork meat. Yeah, so it's balanced. It's not going to be too gamey and not too strong.
And so you said it's from a family who's been making these good meats for ages. How long have they been doing it?
So it's basically the owner, he's my age, and he took over the family business, which was a butchery in the village, about the same time as maybe just a few years earlier when I started my business. And then he started specializing in making the speck ham, more sausages, more salamis.
The venison one is really good.
It's good, isn't it?
So I don't normally like gamey flavors too much, but
because it's mixed,
yeah, it's just like I love how the flavor develops as you chew it, and it's just like really addictive. You know what I mean? That flavor, so Moorish. So these are the 3 things you would say if someone didn't know about South Tyrolean food, this is what they should try.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Amazing. I love it. And are there any winter traditions there? Like any foods or things that you do around winter time?
I remember growing up, you would have a lot of game in autumn.
That's not
into
very usual
winter.
for Italy, or at least not
Bec-
of my idea of
Yeah.
Italy, which is like
no,
south.
exactly, because we're in the mountains, so there's a lot of deer meat.
Mm-hmm.
When there was hunting season, afterwards you would always have fresh deer meat, and I know my mom would always make an amazing deer stew,
Wow.
venison stew, or a ragu, which you had in a pasta dish like tagliatelle.
And what's it like being part of the Borough Market community? What's it like being with the other traders and, being here day in, day out?
Borough Market is a very vibrant place. It's the magnet. And it's very busy, and a lot of times it's too much. But when I'm away too long from Borough Market, I always miss it because it's just such a special place to be here. The traders, but especially also the customers, who love the market and who love coming here.
Yeah, it's such a special place. I love it here. I love doing my shopping here. You can just always find things that you can't find in other places. It's so fun. And I just think all of the traders care so much about what they do, and they all have such an interesting story. So
Oh, definitely. Everybody is completely passionate about, well, at least I am very passionate about my food and what I sell and what I do. And I take great pride in it. Yeah.
as you should, yeah. Are you still getting new products? Like, are you ever learning new things about the food of South Tyrol that you want to then bring over here?
Not really at the moment, because our range is already quite big, and it has become a little bit more difficult with Brexit.
Yeah.
But also mainly because I have a stall, so I have to set up every day and take everything down every day again. So it's a lot of work. If you have a shop, I imagine it to be a little bit easier and to be able to have more different types of products. But also, you're running out of space. There's the space you have and on the stall, but also storage. So you kind of need to manage with what you've got.
Yeah. And what's next for Alpine Deli?
I'm happy to be only here at Borough Market. I want to do this here, and I want to do it properly. I do this for myself. I don't want to have a big business and have loads of other outlets, because I do this. I love doing it, and it comes from my heart. I do this, and it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't need more.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thea, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been so nice to speak to you and so interesting to hear about this amazing region of Italy that's so distinct. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Big thanks to Thea at Alpine Deli for sharing her story and giving us a deeper insight into regional Italian cuisine. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Borough Talks. Follow the podcast so you don't miss what's coming next. We've got plenty more good food and great stories to come. Borough Talks is hosted by me, Giulia Crouch, produced by James Deacon, audio editing and sound design by Chris Attaway, videography by Felipe Franco. Thanks to Liam, Matt and Bethan at Borough Market, and to all our guests for the food, the conversation and the time. And thanks to Jenki for being the backdrop to this series.